In today's video, I'll be comparing the performance of my $7 crockpot to this professional chain waxing system from Silca. This new product is a bike chain specific system that's claimed to make hot waxing your bike chain faster and more precise than using a regular crockpot. To test these claims, I'll be putting the two pots side by side and comparing three key areas of performance: time to heat the wax, outside pot temperature, and ease of use. One of the biggest complaints about my existing crockpot was how long it took for the wax to heat up. So the first area I'll be testing is the time for the wax to melt. The $7 crockpot is already filled with wax from previous use, so I added a similar amount of the same wax to the new Silca pot. I set the wax system to its maximum temperature of 125 degrees Celsius and turned the crockpot to the high setting and started the clock. After only 5 minutes of running, the Silca pot was already starting to melt the wax around the edges of the pot where the crockpot showed no signs of the wax melting. At this point, I also added a Silca strip chip to the wax system since the next step involved waxing a brand new chain. After about 20 minutes, the Silca system had fully melted the wax and strip chip. The crockpot, on the other hand, was just starting to show wax melting on the edges, and it ended up nearly taking an hour and a half for the wax to fully melt. The second test was to measure the inside and outside temperatures of both pots in degrees Celsius. The Silca measured 125 degrees for the wax, and the outside measured around 40 degrees. The pot was warm, but I could comfortably wrap my hands around it. The $7 crockpot was noticeably warmer to the touch. The internal temperature measured similar at about 120 degrees, but the outside temperature of the pot was nearly double at 70 degrees, which was definitely way too hot to comfortably touch. For the third test, I'll be comparing the ease of use of both systems to wax a brand new 12-speed Shimano chain. For the Silca system, I'm looping it onto the provided dipping wire. The chain feeds onto the wire, and then the wire is threaded into the handle to secure it in a loop. In comparison, this is the coat hanger that I've previously used as a dipping tool, and the ease of mounting the chain is similar between the two systems. For the actual dipping of the chain, I did find the Silca wire placed my hand closer to the liquid wax as I agitated the chain. I also had a secondary issue of the handle falling into the wax when I let go of it. In contrast, the coat hanger gave more clearance for my hand, and it also didn't fall into the wax when I let go. After 10 minutes of cooking, it was time to agitate the chain. In the Silca pot, this involved fishing out the handle and then using pliers to hold it since it was too hot to touch. To avoid this in the future, I may brace the handle with a spoke or thin tool so it doesn't fall into the wax. The temperature control buttons allowed me to easily bring the temperature down for the next 10 minutes of cooking. Agitation with the coat hanger and the $7 pot were simple, although the temperature control was far less precise. After sitting for 10 more minutes, I could fully remove the chain and hang it to drip dry. I found the Silca handle and hanger system worked very well here, and it was easy to mount the chain and have any drops fall back in the pot. My previous solution was to lift the chain from the pot, allow the chain to drip for a few seconds, and then hang the chain on a nail to dry. This often got wax drops on the floor and my clothing, and I found the Silca system much better here. So what can we take from all of this? The Silca system is overall a much better option than the $7 crockpot. It heats up the wax much faster, it stays cooler to the touch, and has a better drying method for the chain. If you're waxing your chain on the regular, this is a great pot to have. However, if you're not in a rush and you are careful with the high outer temperature, the $7 crockpot can still work for waxing your chain. It can offer a cheap way to get started with chain waxing and would work well for basic personal use.